right, Wednesday night. I'm gonna wait for some people to come on. We're coming on at 7 o'clock, but I'm coming on a couple seconds earlier. Hello, Caroline. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday night. Hello. I'm gonna start at 7 o'clock. Excited for this one. Eat, Weigh, Love. It's gonna be a good conversation. Get a little comfortable here. Oh, hello. Hi, Kat. How are you? So I'm excited for tonight. This is my first Facebook Live. It's so funny. I've done a lot of Instagram Lives. It's funny. I got like the bubbles. I'm excited. I'm going to give everybody a couple more minutes. Hello. I hope everybody is having an amazing Wednesday. We had some sunshine here in Vancouver, so that always makes it nice. One more minute to go time. You know, you kind of feel spring is in the air. So it's exciting. You know, kind of feel like, oh, we're almost there. Some sunshine. I walked around without my jacket on today. So awesome. Wait, another minute. There we go. Hello, watching. Hi, Mom. Hi, Corey. Hello, everybody. All right, it is 7 o'clock, so I think I'll just get started. Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining me. So as I was saying, my first Facebook Live. So it's funny, I'm kind of a little nervous. I'm used to having my PowerPoint, so it's kind of a little bit of a crutch, but I'll be honest with you, I've got lots of notes. I'm a note taker, so I just want to have some notes to keep me on track. So tonight our conversation is Eat, Weigh, Love. I love that. Oh, you had a sprinkle of snow this morning. Our conversation this morning, tonight, is Eat, Weigh, Love. And a little bit about who I am. My name is Erin Ashley. I'm a registered holistic nutritional counselor, an ISSA trainer, eating disorder recovery coach. I am the founder and owner of Erin Wellness Supplements, and all 6 of my SKUs are sold with Nature's Fair. They are one of the first stores who supported me in my venture several years ago. So thank you, Nature's Fair, and thank you for having me here tonight. Sorry, I forgot to say that off the bat. In 2020, I was a top 100 wellness influencer. I have a #1 book on Amazon called Bulimia to Balance. I'm going to kind of go into it a little bit tonight. There's some tips and strategies that I've used in that book. I have 4 cookbooks with my daughter, Michaela, called Fast Cookbook Mom Series. Fast Cookbook Mom Series. And I'm the wellness expert on Pulse 107.7 out here in Vancouver. And as I said, I'm the mother to a beautiful 12-year-old named Michaela, who really is not only the catalyst to my change and to my why, obviously. She's a big part of my purpose. She's also helped me with the brand in the sense of really aligning with what I want to not only send the message to her, but also to all women. So I want to kind of so we're kind of all on the same page here. I'm sure everybody here has heard of the word dieting, been on a diet. Sounds familiar. I think all of us can kind of resonate with that one, right? That to me, that image is like 11:59. Right before the clock strikes midnight, and I'm raiding every cupboard I possibly can to eat as much food as possible, or having that one cookie and falling off the wagon, right? The book is called Bulimia to Balance. I'll talk a little bit more about it in the next little bit. Right, so falling off the wagon, that all or nothing mentality that we have with food, with our bodies, with weight loss, something I really struggled with for so many years, and that's why this topic is really dear to my heart. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about my story so you understand where I come from. At the age of 12, I started my first diet. And I think some of us maybe resonate with that. When I look now, my daughter's 12. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I started my first diet at her age. And at the age of 13, I was put into Weight Watchers. I was really struggling with my weight. My parents were trying to help me and figure that out for myself. But as I sat in that meeting, I realized I was too much and not enough all at the same time. And that conversation, that story really became part of my theme throughout my life, right? And still something I really have to watch and work on every now and then because it can still show up. That pattern still shows up for me. And at the age 13 as well, 14, I started on the hormonal birth control pill, which then translated to the hormonal IUD, which ended to be a whole bunch of hormonal issues later on in life. But at 14 years old was when I started bulimia. And a classmate had told me his sister had struggled with bulimia and anorexia. And in my little teenage mind, all I thought was, this is the winning dieting ticket. And that's when I really started embarking down that road for 25 years with an eating disorder. In my 20s, I started doing fitness competitions. So I kind of had this way of having a glorified eating disorder. I got praised for how skinny I was, but when I would end the fitness competitions, I would fall back into these bulimic tendencies. So although you might never do fitness competitions, or you might never have struggled with eating disorders, that on again, off again, I was either really on and really strict, or I was really off and really struggling. And my weight would fluctuate dramatically during that time. So when I was competing, I was super small, and I gained 20 and 30 pounds afterwards. So I kept doing show after show after show. And about 10 years ago, I kind of had my aha moment, as the wonderful Miss Oprah Winfrey coined. I had another moment where I had binged, and it was, I'm not going to do it again. Same with Monday, the Mondays, the New Year's, the birthdays. I'm going to start the diet. I'm not going to do it again. But I ended up back upstairs in the bathroom on my knees, purging, and there was a knock on the door. And what was different in that moment, because I've almost been caught many times throughout my life, was it was my daughter on the other end. And as I rose up and I caught my reflection in the mirror, and I've seen that sight so many times before, my eyes running, bloodshot, the whole thing. And what I recognized in that moment is, if I don't get a grip on this, if I don't change my story, that this will be her story. And that really became my why. And I really began then to really look back at all the years I'd worked with other women and all my own issues with food and my body, and how then do I finally let this go and start a new story for myself? How do I change that? And that's when I began to look more at more of a holistic idea as well, because it's not dieting, right? It's not just dieting. It's not just working out. It's not just supplementation. I also really then brought in cognitive behavioral therapy, and I worked a lot more with that, right? Our thoughts create our feelings and create actions. And that became an integral part of what I worked with to get myself to a point now where, I'll be honest, I never thought I'd be in this position where I can go and have a meal and I don't beat myself up for it, or I don't find myself emotionally eating. And I can really land in my body and know what's good for me and what feels good to eat. So I'm really excited today to share a little bit of this with you, and how we can how we can give up the restrictiveness of food and being disconnected with our body, and step more into our body and honoring our body a little more, because I think that's where we can really find sustainable health and wellness, right? Instead of this roller coaster of up and down. So tonight I've got 8 simple, I was going to do 5, but I have 8. It's my birth month, so 8's a good number. I have 8 simple action steps that I've used in my life to really help start landing in your body a little bit more, really start connecting to the food you're eating, and using these as tools, hopefully today. So they're action steps that you can start taking right now. So the first one we're going to go into is mindset. And as I said, cognitive behavioral therapy, thoughts create feelings, create actions. This is really, really essential in any part of life, right? Be it no matter what you want to do in life. And there is the mindset of growth or fixed. And if we want to have health and wellness, if we want to shift things and change things, we have to have a growth mentality. And so when I start looking at this, one of the things I'd like to ask, and I don't know if anybody here feels like they'd like to share, I welcome you to. And if not, that's fully fine. You can just kind of get a note paper out if you have one. It's kind of a great way to kind of look at some of the things that some of the things we're doing in our own life that are maybe possibly holding us back. So one of the questions I have is, what is a story or a thought that shows up on a regular basis for you that you find disempowering? So for myself growing up, it was, I'm not enough, right? I'm not enough. I'm too much. I'm not enough. I always had, you're a big boned girl, right? So I always thought I was bigger, which I don't know where that term comes from, big boned. Nobody say that to me anymore. So big boned, I'm too lazy. It's my genetics. We all have these things that play in our head as to why we can't have success. And if we can start looking at these thoughts and learning how to shift them. So if you want to write that down, what that disempowering thought is, you're more than welcome to share it. As I said, if you'd like to, what that disempowering thought is for you that you find shows up, that kind of holds you in a place where you feel you're not able to move past. Okay, so if you'd like to write that down, you can. And if you want to just write it on a piece of paper, fully fine with that. And the next one I want us to look at is, how is that nasty voice, right? Or how has that, what is that word, that saying, that story you've held, how has that held you back in life? So for myself, I'm not enough, held me back in a lot of different areas in my life. Or if it's my genetics, then maybe I just don't want to work out, I don't try. Or, I'll always be overweight. So maybe I never want to try to even, eat healthy because I feel this is just the way I'm supposed to be. So this nasty voice, this narrative that spins in our head can cause us not to take action a lot of the time. And then once you write that down and you kind of get what that action has stopped you from doing, where it's held you back in your journey of life, then I want you to look at an opposite way of looking at it. What's a different story? So instead of big boned, it's I am strong. Instead of, it's my genetics, or I'll never lose weight, it's I'm powerful. I have control of my body. Or I can't stop eating. It's like I tune into my body, I trust my body. So shifting that into an opposite way of thinking about things, because what's really interesting about this, and the reason I'm kind of bringing this up because it is important, is when we are thinking negative thoughts, when we are thinking disempowering thoughts, our body produces more cortisol. Now, cortisol is the stress hormone, right? So you have fight or flight, you're getting chased by a bear, your body releases cortisol. Now, if we are steadily pumping out cortisol, that not only, there's a whole plethora of things it does wrong with your body, affecting your hormones, from libido, but weight gain is one of them. And what it also can do, it cause insulin resistance. So it's really important that we watch our thoughts, because it can affect how our body responds on a day-to-day basis with what we're asking it to do with our health and wellness. Now, on an opposite end, when we think positive, hopeful, loving, happy thoughts, our body produces more serotonin, right? So your serotonin is your happy mood, like your happy hormone, right? So by even shifting that thought process, and by shifting, and I've had to work on that myself, because there's always times we can get caught up in those negative thoughts, right? But it's working on shifting that over and over again. And that's a really important part, I believe, in kind of stepping into more of a better relationship with food, because you're not looking at food so negatively anymore, because our thoughts create feelings, create actions. And that was a big part of what I had to work through with having a better relationship with food, was not looking at it in such a negative way. So the next one I want to talk about is letting go of the dieting mentality. Now, this is a little bit of a tough one, because I find sometimes when I worked through my eating disorder and came out the other side, I had to have a plan in place. It wasn't just like I was all of a sudden eating everything and didn't struggle anymore. I had to have a plan in place. I had to have proper nutrition. And tonight you're going to be getting a meal planner. In those meal planners, you have protein, fats, and carbs in it. It's a balanced meal planner. But in that, nothing's wrong with having a plan. But the diet mentality I'm really talking about is this restrictive all or nothing mentality that I was talking about before. Really learning to let that go. And that starts with what we're thinking, correct? As we just talked about before with mindset. Letting go of the guilt and the shame with food. There is no good food and bad food. There is just food. And our body processes it differently. And in honoring our body, we want to give our body good, nutritious food. But there's no good food or bad food. And food is not our enemy. So it's not like we have to be scared of food, because I was terrified of food for so many years, so many different food groups. I'd be, I don't want to eat that, I'll get fat. I had this whole idea, this whole story around food that I had to really learn to shift. I had to shift in my mind that story about food and bring it around and change it, right? Now, one of the ways you can do this, and this is a thing that I use, a tool, is I get present with my food. So when I'm about to eat, how many times are we in the car and you're eating and eating and driving, red lights, you're on the go, you're eating food, and you don't even taste it. There's so many times I'm like, did I eat? I'm like eating so fast, did I eat? So really taking that moment to get present with your food. And I always try to take a moment, just be thankful for it. You don't have to pray if that's not what you want to do, but just like, thank you so much for this wonderful meal that's about to go into my body, and appreciating the fact that we have an opportunity to have this food, looking at how it tastes, slowing down with our food, paying attention to how it tastes, how it feels in our mouth, the textures. They say, I think you're supposed to chew, I think it's like, is it 40 times or something before you swallow? But the idea is that you are really supposed to slow down. And in that too, you're not in this restrictive rushing, good food, bad food. You're paying attention, so you're very present. So that's something that I've found has made a profound difference, is really paying a lot more attention, being more present, has helped me along the way. Number 3 is honoring your hunger cues. With a practice that I use is called flexible fasting. Now, it's not fasting, it's not intermittent fasting. I don't time my food at all. But what flexible fasting is for me is when I get up in the morning, if I am hungry, and I ask myself these questions, am I hungry? Like I check in with my body. And this helped me because I was so disconnected from my hunger cues at one time that, am I hungry? Okay, I'm hungry. All right, I'm gonna eat. So some mornings I'll eat at 8:30 and some mornings I won't eat till 11:30. But it's about checking in and asking myself, am I really hungry? Do I need to eat? And trusting my body when it says yes. So what I found was sometimes with these timed feedings is that put me into the same box with, weighing my food or weighing my body, or I had to have this restrictive, and I don't abide in that anymore because I've let go of restrictive ideas with food and with my body. And so in that, stepping into the space of, am I hungry? Okay, I'm hungry. And then it's such a great way of checking in. Or am I sad, mad, lonely? What do I got going on? And the big thing too is, am I numbing or am I nurturing? And I think a lot of the time we tend to numb with food. I knew I use that for my own personal numbing with stress, and we're going to talk a little bit more of that in food and feelings part. But really honoring when I'm hungry and asking myself, am I hungry? Checking in. And then now we're going to get to food and feelings. So in my book, Bulimia to Balance, I kind of go through my journey with my eating disorder and some of the strategies that I've used along the way. But one of the things I put in here, because I have tips and tools, is I have a food and feeling chart. So you don't necessarily have to have a food or feeling chart, but if you are somebody who finds yourself just eating when you're stressed, and I think a lot of us can resonate with that right now, especially with everything that's gone on this past year. But, asking yourself, what time you even ate, what the food was. So it brings you back into that present, like, okay, what did I eat? Why am I eating? What quality you ate? Was I hungry before? Checking in. Am I hungry when I'm eating right now? You're full after, checking in. Are you full afterwards? And your thoughts and feelings around it. So, was I sad? Was I mad? Was I lonely? Really looking at this. Am I looking to numb? Because right now I'm stressed. And, earlier today, I had quite a stressful day today. And I was thinking about this, how ironic that tonight I'm on this call or on this Facebook Live, this morning, my dad was put into the hospital. And normally, and my dad's a big, strong bodybuilder guy, never sick, ever, in 46 years. And this morning he was put into the hospital, and I'm flying out tomorrow morning to Calgary. So it's been a whole whirlwind day trying to get things organized for my daughter and everything. And it really reminded me of, had this been years ago, I would have resorted to food, right? It would have been my way of numbing my feelings because I'm stressed and I'm worried. And I thought, how ironic that here I am tonight talking about this, because today I was able to just get really present with my feelings and know that I'm sad and I'm scared. But I also had to know and change that mindset, change that conversation, that it's going to be okay and that it'll all be okay. And I had to kind of give myself a little, just wrap my arms around myself, be the friend that I need to be, and it's all going to be okay. And I think sometimes when we get really stressed, and I think a lot of people can resonate with this, food seems to be the one thing we have. We can use food or drugs or sex or shopping, whatever it is, to numb. But what we have to really do is to stop for a second and take a breath and just get really connected to why you're eating, right? And to your emotions and acknowledge them. And that's really what I had to do today, is step back, get present, and then understand it's going to be okay. And so it was just kind of interesting today when all of this stuff was going on. And normally my solution for it would be numb, it would to be eat. And it didn't. I didn't go to that because I know now that what I do when I get stressed. So I had to really step into a different space. So writing down your food and feelings is a great way, checking in. Number 5 is support. And I think if you are somebody who is really struggling with stress, you're really struggling with mindless eating, or you just can't seem to get a hold on food, it's always good to have support, whether it be a friend or a family member. And maybe you have that person who can be your buddy and you team up and you're like, hey, I'm struggling today. I had somebody that I was calling today to really kind of vent about all the different emotions that I was feeling with my dad. And so having that support is really important. We all need it, especially now. So if you have a friend or family that you can reach out to and maybe kind of be each other's friends when you're finding you're stress eating, or when you're not checked into your body, you can say, hey, I'm struggling. And that person goes, okay, what's going on? Well, XYZ happened today. And I noticed myself going for food, and I realized that's not gonna connect me to self and bring me joyfulness, right? When you're feeling overfull and you're mad at yourself for eating boxes of cookies, right? So having support is a really important part, I believe, of everything, not just if you're dealing with food issues. And then next, movement. I can't get away from movement because I really believe in using more of a holistic kind of attitude in life. And that's one of the things I really talk about with my brand. So moving your body. And especially right now with Zoom calls, I think a lot of us are on Zoom calls. I've had a lot of people say to me, I don't have time to work out. I don't want to work out. You can literally sit in your chair right here, right now, hands above your head, and pull down and do it's called a lat pull down, and stretch and flex your back muscles. And you do that 10 times in between each Zoom call. That's moving your body, right? And that to me is a way of thanking the universe for my body, and that it works, and that it's healthy, and that it operates on a day-to-day basis, and all my cells are doing what they need to be doing. And another thing that is kind of a cool, you can do at home. This is a great thing. You guys don't have to, nobody sees you. But I think it's called wiggle your pinky. And if you do this right now, while you're sitting there, and I want you to think about this, your brain tells your pinky to move before it moves. So just think about that movement and how amazing these bodies are, right? That they get to function, and that we get to nurture it with food, and that we get to move and play and think and be creative and be on Facebook and all these different things, right? That we exist is an absolute miracle. So really, if you're feeling like, you're having a crappy day, I always tell people wiggle your pinky, because right now somewhere there's somebody who's in a hospital who can't wiggle their pinky. So really stepping back into gratitude sometimes is a really great way to connect back to self. So movement is number 6. And then I cannot not talk about nutrition because we're talking about food. So the next one is I'm going to talk a little bit about nutrition, about macros. So I usually like to do a little contest. Now, so if everybody pays attention for a second, got your attention, because you have a chance to win a prize. So the first person who can tell me, let's get ready to type, what macros are will win a prize. So first person to type what macros are. Let me see. Anybody? You win a prize. I'll be mailing a prize pack out to you. Anybody? Anybody? Nobody wants to win a prize? What are macros, people? What's a macro? What are the macros? Anybody? Nutrients, that's good. But what's the breakdown? What is macros? There we go. Shauna Torres. Oh, is that fat? I'm assuming. Yes, that's fat. Shauna Torres. Okay, Shauna Torres, you have 1. It's protein, fats, and carbs. So Shauna, let me see. You can either message me or message Nature's Fair. I think Nature's Fair can message you. I've got Melissa helping me out here tonight with the call, so she can probably message you. So Shauna Torres, I wrote that down. You're going to get a prize pack today. Okay, so protein, fats, and carbs. So why protein, fats, and carbs are so important is because they are the building blocks. Protein is the building blocks, but all of this is what makes this wonderful vessel that we abide in function on a day-to-day basis. And if we're talking about stress eating, and we're talking about the inability to feel full sometimes and all those different things, congratulations, it's important to look at protein, fats, and carbs. If you are somebody who finds that you're always hungry, that could be a sign of insulin resistance. If you find you're hangry and hungry, and you find you crash really heavy after meals, that could be a sign that you have a little bit of insulin resistance going on. And one of the ways you can deal with insulin resistance is having protein with every meal. This is really important. There are so many people who don't eat enough protein, and they think they do. And how you figure out your protein levels is you do 0.8 to 1 gram, 0.8 to 1 gram times per kilogram of body weight. And that's kilogram, not pounds, right? So you figure out that calculation, and that's the amount of protein you should have every day in your meals, and spreading it out 3 times a day. I will say this too, if you are somebody who is more sedentary, let's say you're not an athlete, you're not working out all the time. We've been fed this idea we have to have 6 meals a day, but if you are not that active, then 3 meals a day on a regular time basis is really important, because sometimes what ends up happening, especially when we end up stress eating at night and we doing this, is because what we end up doing is we don't eat all day, and then we come home and we're starving, and so we sit around and eat from like 6 till 10 o'clock at night, everything we can possibly get our hands on, because in our mentality and our thinking, we're like, I didn't eat all day. So having those 3 meals a day is really important. If you're super active, then you can break it into 6. But if you're doing those 3 meals a day, protein, that's That's chicken breasts, that's lean beef, that's what else we got? Eggs. If you're a vegetarian, there's vegan proteins, there's soy, there's lentils, there's all sorts of things. One thing I use, and Nature's Fair does sell it, I'm a big fan of whey protein. This is it here. It's from Prairie Naturals. I love this one. It's all natural. It's New Zealand whey, so there's no hormones in it. Look at that. It smells like ice cream. I make this into a smoothie with some berries. That's one of my meals. And it's one of the recipes that you're going to see. This can be added to one of the recipes that you're going to be getting with that meal planner tonight. So lean protein, it's a small tubby, doesn't take up lots of space. This is at Nature's Fair as well. So great product. I absolutely love this. So really good way of getting that nice, clean protein in on a day-to-day basis. I usually do about 20 grams of protein per meal is what my take is personally. And the next one we're going to look at is fats. Those good, healthy fats, right? That's going to help balance your hormones. That helps with brain health, keeps our joints going. So really want to make sure we're having those good fats. You've got olive oil, we've got avocados, we've got nuts, there's MCT oil. There's so many great oils out there that we can incorporate into our diet. We have some really great, in the recipes you're going to find in the meal planners, there's fantastic recipes with a really nice balance of protein, fats, and carbs in there. And then lastly, but not least, of course, we have carbohydrates. And carbohydrates, we want to avoid the high fructose corn syrup. We want to avoid more the sugary, simple carbohydrates. We really want to stick to those nice whole grains, the complex carbohydrates. That's going to help keep our blood sugar balanced. As I said, same with protein. So really making sure we're keeping that blood sugar balanced so we're not spiking our insulin all over the place. And that will also help with the cravings, right? With you wanting to get those sugary snacks all the time. It's Lean Whey by Prairie Naturals. Sorry, I should have said that. So really nice vanilla flavoring in this one. But sorry, back to carbohydrates. Yes, okay. So we want to make sure we're having more of those complex carbohydrates that are going to help balance out our blood sugars, keep us fuller so we're not then searching for more of those sugary snack foods again. And I'm just going to mention one other thing when I think of micronutrients, because micronutrients be like your vitamins and all your little goodies, but this is a really good one that I just started using. It's by Prairie Naturals as well. It's their superfood blend. So you've got the chlorella, you've got spirulina in here, you've got what else we got in here? You got kale in here. So you got those rich superfoods, and it's going to help create more alkalinity in your body, and that's going to help too, because when we're more acidic, we tend to crave more salty, crappy foods. We're more alkaline, it balances out our body a little more, and we're going to be craving more of those nice, great foods. So this is Superfoods from Prairie Naturals, another one, blueberry flavor, but you've got the mushrooms in there. So you've got the shiitake, you've got the king trumpet, you've got, where else are you here? The cordyceps, a lot of great mushrooms in here. I really like this one too. So these are two things I use that I call more food base. They're not supplements. I have them in my cupboard every day. I drink them every day. I have them in the afternoon, but I really like these two products as kind of a nice addition to my day-to-day health and wellness routine. And it really is about having a plan and having a routine in place with, you know, the mindset, shifting what we're thinking about our bodies and shifting how we're thinking about food, about letting go of the restrictive and the dieting mentality, about stepping into a positive space with food in our body, you know, looking at how we're feeling when we're eating, all these different things combined together, moving our body, appreciating our body, and then of course, giving our body good quality supplementation that our body can then give us the results we want to. And so last I'm going to talk about another thing. I'm going to talk a little bit about my own brand, Erin Wellness, for a second, because when I really worked through all of my issues with food and stepped back into a better relationship with food, I really still struggled with, I had a lot of adrenal fatigue. I was very highly stressed. And so that was when we kind of really started the first two products, which was Restore and Snooze, which is a stress support product and a sleep support product. Now I do have 6 products on my little banister for with Nature's Fair, so I'm not going to get in all of them, but what I'm going to tell you about is a new innovation that we've just launched with my brand, which I'm really excited about, which really ties in everything I'm talking about tonight. So going forward, this is the stress support product that we have with Nature's Fair. So it has, there we go, it has Chinese hawthorn in there to help with stress, help with bowel regularity. We also have KSM 66 ashwagandha, which helps with, of course, stress and cortisol, lowering down those cortisol levels, because a lot of the time when we're stressed, we're going to start eating more. It also helps, we also have Bacopa to help with mental clarity. So if you find you're crashing at 3 o'clock, this is a great product. It's a one a day. You take that and it's also going to help keep you energetic throughout the day. Then we've added Shashandra, which helps turn down the overproduction of cortisol again, and then B5. So I've got a whole lineup here, but one of the things I wanted to show you, because this is the one that would pertain more to stress, because that was kind of what we're talking about tonight, is there's a little QR code. And every single product going forward with Erin Wellness has a QR code. And what these QR codes are is each of them take you to a 30-second to 1-minute video explaining the product. You also get a meal planner in every single QR code. So really supporting you with giving you good, some of the meal planners you're getting tonight are from these QR codes, supporting you with giving you good quality guidelines of food that you can eat, that you can sustain yourself with. Then we've also given you tips and strategies for every single product to help you on your wellness goals. And so I'm really excited about this because it kind of ties in everything I'm talking about tonight, because it's not just take a supplementation. It's about the thoughts we think. It's about the friends we keep, even the support, right? We're talking about that. It's also about the food we're eating, good, nutritious, healthy food. It's also about our daily movement and acknowledging and being grateful for these bodies. And then, of course, then it's when supplementation kicks in, because supplementation is just that. It is supplementation. And you have to have all these other keys together to really make this work effectively. And so with the new QR codes, we're going to be giving you all that with this. So I'm really, really excited about that kind of all coming together. So in the next couple of months, this is going to be rolling out. So as I said, kind of going through the touch points, I have a minute here now. We're down to our 29 minutes. Number one is mindset, cognitive behavioral therapy. When it comes to food, when it comes to anything in life, our thoughts create our feelings, create our action or non-action. What I am thinking about my body, what I'm thinking about food, what I'm thinking about anything, relationships, whatever it is, it's so easy to start tail spinning. So it's really important to, when you have those thoughts, to catch yourself and shift the thought, right? That's something why we did that little exercise in the beginning. Catch the thought and shift it and create a more powerful thought that can carry you through. And with that, will open the doors, I believe, to continuous powerful thoughts. It's like working a muscle. You have to constantly work at it. Number two, letting go of the dieting mentality of restriction and all or nothing, and good food, bad food. Having a plan, if you need a plan, I think is a wonderful way to go. And as I said, you're getting a plan tonight with the attending the talk. Honoring your hunger cues. You know, when you're hungry, and if you're doing flexible fasting, if you're even just throughout the day, sometimes when you find yourself mindless eating, just, whoa, am I hungry? Or am I sad? Am I mad? Am I lonely? What's going on, right? And then, as I said, the next one is food and feelings. So checking in, how am I feeling when I'm eating my food? Am I upset? Am I just eating because I'm lonely? Am I pissed off? Am I, sad? As I talked about, my dad being in the hospital today, really checking in and realizing, okay, like I'm upset, and that is okay. That is okay to be sad. Everything will be okay, right? Asking for support, number 5. Having a good group of friends, having somebody you can really talk with when you're feeling stressed, or when you find yourself maybe spinning out of control with food, having somebody you can go work out with or do stuff with, that you can really have that support, because it's really important when we're especially going through trying times like now. We need to have support, and I think it's so essential. Personally, I know I wouldn't be where I am today without having the people who support and love me. Number 6, movement. And I think with movement, it's thanking the universe that we have this body, being grateful that we have the ability to move, and wiggle your pinky, that one, right? So I love the wiggle your pinky thing whenever you're feeling stressed, being thankful that you can wiggle your pinky. Nutrition. Good, solid nutrition, your protein, fats, and carbs, as I said, making sure you're having that. And then lastly, supplementation if you need it. And if you are looking for a brand that is now really going to be supporting you on all levels, that is Erin Wellness. And we are sold in all the Nature's fairs. We have, I'll go through all of them quickly. We have Lose It, which is a metabolism support product we just launched. We have Water Be Gone, which is a diuretic support product. So if you're experiencing water weight, we also have Restore, stress support. We have Snooze, sleep support. So if you're looking for a good night's sleep, this is a good one. We have Reclaim, hormonal support, your day-to-day hormonal support in this one. And then we have Reset, which is a hormonal detox. If you're somebody trying to come off the birth control pill, this is a great product to have. They are all they're all scientifically developed with a formulator that I've been working with for many years. And they're fantastic products. And a portion of every product is donated to the Downtown Eastside Women's Shelter here in Vancouver. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for taking some time with me tonight and spending these 32 minutes. So I'll hurry up here. But it really kind of stems from looking at what do you want to change in your life? years ago, I made the decision that I wanted to make a conscious choice, not only for myself and for my daughter. I had a very strong why to make that decision and make that change. And every day and every second, we can make a decision to change what we're doing in our life. So when you are having those moments where you find yourself maybe knee deep in a bag of chips, maybe not knee deep, but elbow deep in a bag of chips, stepping back, taking a moment, taking a breath, connecting to self. Am I hungry? Am I sad, mad, lonely? Reaching out to a friend, going for a walk, stepping back from the situation, right? We all have that decision. We have that choice every single second of the day to choose something different. And making that decision for myself all those years ago, I never thought I'd be in a place where I have a healthy relationship with food, where I'm not obsessing about food, where I can have a dinner out with my family and my friends, and I'm not thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to work out for 2 hours the next day, or just not being so disconnected from eating that I use it as more abuse towards myself. So I am in a place of, I never thought I'd be in with food. And so that's really kind of brought me back, I guess, to that, the title of tonight is Eat, Weigh, Love. And although I don't weigh myself, but I really have learned to connect so much to self. And I'm hoping that tonight, some of these tools or strategies that you were able to use, or you got some nuggets from here that you can apply to your life. And I appreciate all of you spending some time with me this evening. This was my first Facebook Live, as I said, so I had notes, but I usually do a lot of PowerPoint and education seminars. So feel free to follow me on Erin Wellness or Erin Bella Ashley on Instagram, and of course here on Facebook. And I want to thank you all for attending tonight. And I also want to take a second and really thank Nature's Fair for always supporting me and for supporting, a woman in business. It's not an advertisement for dating, but a woman in business who they've always supported me. So I just really appreciate them and their fantastic team. And Melissa as well, who is over here answering questions and sending things. So if anybody has any questions, I can sit here for a second and answer some questions. If there's anything you'd like to ask, you can also, if there's something personal that you want to ask me, or if there's something you're struggling with, please feel free. You can ask me, you can email me, or you can message me on Instagram. We can have a chat over there as well, or on Facebook. So if there's any questions, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I fly out tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. So today was I just had to be like, okay, universe, I can handle this. So my daughter will be taken care of. And I have a friend who's coming in helping me with her. So thank you all so much. For the stress product, I take the stress product. So Reclaim, where are we here? No, sorry, Restore, wrong one. Restore, you take it between 1 and 3. That's when you take it. It has the bacopa in there. It's going to really help with cognitive benefits. So you're not going to have that energy crash, which is a really great thing. Thank you so much, Audrey, for attending. Okay, give it a couple of minutes. Anybody who's struggling with hormonal imbalance. I take 1 Reclaim a day. Thank you so much. I take 1 Reclaim a day. There is 60 in here, so 1 Reclaim a day. So if you are struggling with irregular periods, if you find you're having hormonal acne, if you find your cycles aren't regular, that's another thing too. If you find you're having, I'm trying to think, your hair loss or low libido, those are different signs of hormonal imbalance. This one has not only hormonal balancing properties to it, but we also have immune support in there. And we also then, of course, have mood support. So I would suggest if you're looking at these products, go into Nature's Fair. The team is fantastic in there. I love Nature's Fair. They're also educated. They're wonderful staff members, and they can also answer the questions on this product as well. Or you can shoot me a question and I will answer it for you. All right. All right, so I guess I'll sign off now. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day, wonderful night, and see you later.